one day we went in and she showed us a video of a famous artist. And so she said, now let's go back to the art room. And we walked into the room and all of these objects were displayed. And she said, just do something, do what you want to do, use your creativity.
We had talked about taking like broken things, discarded things, rejected things, and making them into something beautiful. And so the sculptor, Louise Nevelson, took everyday common like wood pieces from furniture stores and different places where she lived. She was a Russian sculptor and created something out of that. And it's called assemblage art because you assemble pieces together in order to make something else.
So I walked over and I started to pick up things and I did this art piece. And when I first started, it was, it's just a celebration. I said, well, let's have a celebration. I found the thing and I did it. And when I finished it and I brought it home, I took a picture of it and I sent it to Sylvia. And Sylvia said, oh my goodness, Nanny, this is what I saw. And I couldn't believe it. Sylvia, what do you remember what you said?
So in the upper left corner, there's this shape of paper and then there's a ship on top of it. And of course, or a submarine. And it is a Monopoly piece. But the very first thing that came to my mind was that my grandfather was a submariner and had devoted part of his life to the U.S. Navy. So I went straight there. But underneath of it is Tennessee, which is where they ended up landing and spending the joyous time that they did spend together there. And then as you move across the top, there is a gold candle in the middle. And when they reached their 50th anniversary milestone, they wanted, and their family wanted, a grand celebration. So we had this beautiful gold celebration where even the grandchildren all wore gold vests and everything. There was a tree decorated with gold ornaments. It was just absolutely a beautiful time. So my mind went there. And then the hook at the house where they lived in Mallard Bay in Eastville, Virginia, that was the one place that I knew that as soon as you walked in the door, you hung your coat up in a coat closet. And there was a closet devoted just to the coats of their visitors. There's a fork right in there that's a golden fork. And at their house, that's where we learned how you eat properly, and on which she taught me where to place my fork and my spoon and my knife and how to set a table. And Papa Daddy, Harold, expected the table to be set correctly, for sure. And then the hat. My grandfather he loved his hats, and he passed that tradition on to some of his grandsons as well. He had fedoras that he wore, and he looked so handsome in them. And then there's also a cork for the many family celebrations that we had, along with their love for White Zinfandel wine. There was always a bottle of that in their refrigerator. The iron at the top corner reminded me of Nanny ordering clean sheets. We like those too, and she passed that on to me for certain. Everything was also just ironed and pressed, and being that man of the military, he was not a man that wouldn't do that himself. And even so, he was the one who could sew as well. She's added that 50th anniversary piece, but I think it's so neat that ties right into the candle. And so that was an addition that I hadn't even seen. Underneath of the cork, I believe there are some like wooden dowels. So it reminds me of how he had this building shed in their house, at their house in Norfolk, out behind their house, and he was always building. He was an architect, but they're also the nails that hold our family together, for sure. And then the ballerina life is a dance, but it's beautifully choreographed, and I just love how they have led our family with grace and compassion.
When I did this picture, I had no idea what I was doing. I just picked it up and started putting pieces together. And I didn't know I was doing that. And Amy would be proud because I was just doing I was just letting my creativity.
I think we cried. I feel like we cried, and at the same time I was like, of course. It was kind of probably like an aha moment for her. Like when her family members were seeing this, then she was like, of course, yes. But we were still like in shock, and it was beautiful. It's one of my favorite moments in the art class.